One of the things that I watched recently that I thought was really interesting was the concept of like Rugrats and the boomers, and how like the boomer parents and in Rugrats and how they were raising their kids, and how it reflected upon the way that the stress that the boomers were feeling at that time, where the economy started to really disappear that middle class. It started to really change. It started to change what like a normal family could look like and what a normal family could survive on. I know that I personally witnessed that in my life, where it went from my dad having a pretty good job and could cover us all, to not having as good of a job, and my mom needing to get back into the workforce. She was a stay-at-home mom for a while, and I feel really blessed that she was able to do it for as long as she did. But at a certain point, she had to go back to work. And so, like, in that video, is a Wisecrack video. In that video, they talk about like the different expectations that boomers have, the way that they, kind of like judged their parenting, and the way that they were always like trying to keep up with the Joneses. That certainly is a thing that I don't think is exclusive to the boomer generation, but certainly in the way that they grew up, and the free love of the 60s, and the craziness of that era. And then to go on to be adults, and then, look at where we are now. The boomers have destroyed the planet. Sorry, boomers, if you guys are a boomer listening. I'm sure you guys are wonderful people on an individual level. But that's exactly the thing, is that in that video, they talk all about how it went from having systems and like unions and all these different ways that protected workers, to this individual like personal responsibility thing of like, it's on you to do it and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, ignoring larger forces that are just way more powerful than you and I as an individual. You and I can do the best fucking thing of all time, and we could be amazing and make all the perfect decisions. But if this societal level systemic thing is preventing certain outcomes from happening, I mean, that's pretty hard to fight the market forces. So I thought that video was super interesting. I highly recommend you guys check that out. And it really explains not only the boomer mentality, but also explains, how millennials kind of got fucked up, and why we're so anxious, and why, when we look at the world around us and we see our planet getting destroyed, and we see politicians that are not serving us, and we see, widespread economic disparity, and we see, people of color being, killed in the streets by police officers. I mean, when we see all that, and we grew up through 9/11, and we grew up through the Iraq War and Afghanistan War, and then Libya, and all these other conflicts that we continue to keep getting into, and now escalations with Iran, you look at all that stuff, and like, you can't blame a millennial for having zero faith in the system, because the system has never in our lifetime served us in any meaningful way. It's saddled us with student loan debt. It's pushed anxiety onto us. It's tried to solve everything with prescription pills. You look at the larger thing, you can't really blame millennials for their point of view. You really can't. We deserve to be cynical based on the experience that we've had. When we look at the world around us, we have no reason to believe that these larger systems in place have any good faith way of trying to take care of the issue. And in fact, oftentimes it seems like they are set up to fail so that they can use the explanation of like, well, see, it didn't work, so we shouldn't fund it. And then, you see the breakdown of these social safety nets. So I thought that was a really interesting video. I highly recommend you guys check that out. And it's just, all around really good, eye-opening, and I think perspective changing.